I used to live in a very old house. It was bought in the early 60s by my grandpa. My family, especially my grandpa, are very superstitious people. They believe in all kinds of superstitious beliefs. Like we're not allowed to cut our nails at night, or else a family member dies. Or when we visit a wake of a dead person, we're supposed to brush off our clothes before going home, so that the spirit of the dead won't follow us back to our house. You know, stuff like that. Anyway, ever since I was born, this house had only 2 bedrooms. When my grandpa passed away and my dad inherited the house, he opted to extend it by adding another bathroom, 2 more bedrooms and an extension of the kitchen. Needless to say, I was happy, since I'll be getting a new room without having to share it with my brother. When the work was done, we moved my bed in, along with the bookshelf and the dresser. While moving things around, my grandma came in and started chanting something. It was in her native tongue. I asked her what it was for, and she said to ward off spirits. I didn't really believe in it, but I just shrugged it off. She went on around the room and then immediately stopped. She took out a rosary from her pocket and hung it by the bookshelf. She then said something that didn't make sense to me until a little later on. She said, "Don't trouble my granddaughter, okay?" I wanted to ask who she was talking to, but it was no use. She wouldn't answer me anyway. A few months in, I've settled in my new room. I thought it was perfect up until the following weeks. I would often stay up late and watch YouTube videos on my phone, or I'll be engrossed in a book. One night, around 12 midnight-ish, out of the corner of my eye, I saw something moving by the doorway. Now the layout of the extension of the house was a bit tight. There's a small doorway at the corner of the house where you can get into the extension. There's a long hallway from that opening to my bedroom. My bedroom was at the very end of the extension, right in front of the bathroom, and the only light in that hallway is by the doorway. The light would barely reach my door if it was turned on. Anyway, it was dark, and the only light in the house was in my bedroom, since I was the only one still up. I knew everyone was asleep, so I thought that my mind was playing tricks on me. I ignored it and continued to read. Once again, I felt that weird feeling of being watched. I looked over by the door again. I saw something peeking at me. I couldn't see clearly, but I knew whatever it was had long black hair. My heart pounded in my chest. I couldn't believe what I saw. I don't usually believe in the paranormal, but I was questioning everything. I didn't bother closing the room. I ignored whatever was staring at me and went to bed. The next day, I was home alone. It was around 4 p.m. and I was on my way to the bathroom. I usually go to the one right in front of my bedroom, since I was used to it. After peeing, I went out and I heard a sound coming from my bedroom. The door was open and there was no light. My bedroom only had a very tiny window at the very top of my bed. Sunlight could barely come in, and my room was usually very dark. I turned towards the sound, and I could make out a figure in the dark. Psst. The figure kept making that sound. I was beyond terrified. It was dark, and not to mention, I was home alone. I bolted out of the hallway and back into the main house where there was light. Ever since then, I would sleep on the couch in the living room, just because I was terrified of what was in my room. This happened when I was still 15. I'm 22 now, and I've since moved out of that house. I heard that my dad turned the room into a guest room for when other relatives come to visit. Up until now, I still sleep with the lights on, and I make it a habit to sleep earlier.